You might recall that several years ago, the legislature again provided allocations to fund stipends for qualified mentors. These funds are paid back to the districts to pay directly to the mentor teachers. So I'm here to remind you about mentor programs and mentor stipends because we're approaching that time frame where you will be required to go back in and finish the reporting of your mentors so that we can get the stipends paid to you before the end of the school year. To remind you of the timeline, if you remember last fall, you went in and applied for grant monies by entering your mentors into the mentor programs application. That's a KSDE authenticated application. The deadline was September 27th. If you failed to enter any mentors, you will not be eligible for your mentors to receive any of the state-funded stipends. So only if you entered mentors by that September 27th deadline. On April 1st, we will reopen the mentor programs application, and your duties will be to go in and adjust any of your mentors, delete ones that ended up not being assigned a mentee, and or add any new mentors. Then you will also enter the mentee information and then give us the assignment, which mentor had which mentee, and then that allows you to submit. We will close the application on May 1st. That's a set deadline because we have to close out the application and then validate the information that was entered in order to come up with the list of eligible mentors statewide. That's important because then that determines the final stipend amount. Our goal, of course, is to fully fund with a full stipend any mentor mentoring a first-year teacher. Last year, we were able to accomplish that, and we were also able to give a prorated stipend amount to mentors who were mentoring second-year teachers. So we won't know the total stipend amount until we close out the application, validate the information, and determine how many qualified mentors there are statewide. Once we do that, the state funds will be deposited as a reimbursement to your general fund in this year's final payment, so that June payment. And then you must distribute the funds as a stipend to the eligible mentor teachers. So you get the money, you have to give that directly to the mentor teacher. I also need to remind you that not all mentors will qualify to receive a state-funded stipend. As you know, there are many classroom teachers that are being mentored for the purposes of upgrading to the professional license. And I'm going to review the qualifications of the mentor in order to receive the state-funded stipend. But just keep in mind, not all of your mentors will be eligible. So as we look at the requirements, and these are they're statutory requirements, the mentor has to be at the professional or the accomplished license level. They have to be assigned as a classroom teacher themselves. So this is a teacher mentoring other teachers. So both the mentor and the mentee must be reported as educator type 1 to 5 in your licensed personnel report. So if you recall that report, that means educator type 1 is early childhood elementary, and 5 goes up to CTE teachers. So both mentor, mentee, that match, they both have to be classroom teachers. The mentor must have 3 consecutive years of employment in your school district or in the co-op where they are providing the mentoring. The mentor cannot be mentoring more than 2 new to the profession teachers. And new to the profession is defined as those in their 1st to 3rd years of teaching. The mentor also has to have completed an approved mentor training program, and that's training based on those mentor program guidelines. So those are the qualifications. If you think about it, if you have a full release mentor that may be assigned up to 4 or 5 new teachers, that mentor unfortunately does not meet the statutory requirements for the stipend because they're mentoring more than 2 new to the profession teachers. A listserv notice will go out in mid-March to remind you of the requirements, give you more instructions on how you go back into the application and what your steps are. We will also resend that listserv message on April 1st, again as a reminder. So this is a heads up. You might want to go back in and review the mentors that you entered in the fall, just so you're ready to when the application does open, because again, you just have that 1 month time. When we send out the listserv, there will be a link to a complete guidance document. So that will be a link, but if you want to get heads up and go find that yourself, I'm going to give you a tip of how do you go to licensure from ksde.org and find that document yourself. You can find anything related to licensure by first going to ksde.org. And if you look under the right-hand popular resources, you see there's a direct link to licensure circled in red on this slide. And if you click on that, it brings up our teacher licensure and accreditation homepage. And this is where you can find license applications, go directly to license lookup, and so forth. You will find that link to mentoring under licensure on the left-hand index. So just look for mentoring, and if you open that up, you can go directly to that more complete guidance document related to mentor stipends. So while I have your attention, that's all I have on the mentor reminders, but I wanted to give you a couple of other tips. We would appreciate if you use email addresses to contact consultants. All of our consultants and their email addresses are listed on our website, the TLA homepage. Also, please remind your educators to submit their renewal applications as early as 6 months prior to their expiration date. If they're upgrading, then of course they have to wait, or they can upgrade if and when they're eligible. But for all others, all of those renewing professional licenses, it helps everybody if they can submit their application as early as possible. And then finally, something to look forward to this spring, we launched Form 3A renewal of that professional license as an online application last spring. We are about to launch later on this spring many new enhancements to that online application. So that's something to look forward to. If you have questions as you move through completing your mentor application, be sure and contact either myself, Susan Helbert. My contact information is on the website. Thank you.